Deebo Samuel apparently back in shape.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Shanahan. Well, Deebo talked about it.
Yeah.
I talked about it last year and said this dude's overweight.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to talk about it during the time. No one admitted it then, but now he was like, yeah, I was overweight and I was trash. Kyle's like, he was trash. He just wasn't one of the best players in the league. But now he sends me all kind of shirtless pictures and I'm impressed, was what he said, like sort of kind of.
Yeah.
So apparently Deebo's back.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm excited, man. I posted about it yesterday. To me, he looks like he's in phenomenal shape. I can't really remember what he looked like, 2 years ago necessarily, but I can say he looks way better than he did last year. And so I'm excited. I mean, I'm actually really optimistic. It's the time of year where I get really optimistic, and that's how I feel right now. And part of the reason is because the way you see Deebo, like Brandon Ayuk is in a contract year. We know how Brandon Ayuk is going to come out. And now you see Deebo taking accountability and getting in shape coming into the season. He looks great, man. And if Deebo is the same guy from 2 years ago and we got Brandon Ayuk who is reaching his peak, the 49ers wide receivers could be better than ever this year. So I'm very optimistic. He looked great. I think your quality control is definitely working when it comes to Deebo.
I'm not done with Deebo.
Okay.
Like you've had some good reviews. You look like you're in shape, but that ain't enough. Because I feel like Deebo gets this status as being one of the best athletes in the world. And I think he's demonstrated that he can be, but I don't think he is, because I think he was for 1 year. And in 2021, he was one of the best athletes in the world, regardless of sport. But that was 1 year of his life. I'd like to see him do it again. And you're in shape now. Like, it's a marathon, baby. You're just getting started. What are you going to do this year, man? I know you can. We all know you can. But as far as I'm concerned, you're a guy who's actually done it once. Mm-hmm. Let's see if you can go for 2.
Yeah. I mean, I think
would I bet on him to go for 2 this year? I don't know. Maybe.
I think statistically it's going to be hard to repeat that year that he had in 2021. But I think he could play like the Deebo we saw in 2021. I think it's especially going to be statistically hard, not just because it was kind of like an anomaly season for the guy, but now you got CMC as a factor. You got Brandon Ayuk emerging as a factor. So it's going to be harder for him to get those statistical numbers, but I think he's going to be in great shape, and he's hungry. He's hungry again. Even after getting paid, I feel like he's hungry again because he kind of soured his reputation. So I'm positive right now on Deebo Samuel.
Maybe I'm biased because Deebo Samuel blocked me on Twitter and basically doesn't answer my questions, and Brandon Ayuk does answer my questions. And I happened to go out to dinner with his mom in Green Bay before the playoff game a couple years ago because we happened to be staying at the same hotel, and she's a really nice lady, and I feel like I know their family, and I just really admire Brandon Ayuk because he punched Fred Warner in the face during practice and stood up for the whole. I just really admire Brandon. I feel like he's put up with a bunch of Kyle's crap and said nothing about it. And so it's like Deebo's like King David from I'm a big Old Testament guy. Like King David did so many morally questionable things, and God was just like, I love this guy. He's the greatest. He's the king of my. He's fucking great. And like that's deep. Like meanwhile, Ayuk is like Moses, and he's like does so much for God, and God's like, if you freaking look at me like that again, I'm not letting you go in the prom. Like I don't know what it is, but Ayuk looks at Kyle a certain way or doesn't block a certain way on a certain play, and it's like, all right, well, we're not calling your number again until next week. Whereas Deebo has one great year, and they talk about him like he's Bo Jackson or something. Like I don't know. It seems to me like Brandon is a much more consistent pro than Deebo, who might be more gifted, but he's also, I don't know. That bugs me.
I think as a
Deebo
coach,
isn't held accountable. No one holds him accountable. He holds himself accountable.
So I think as a coach, I've seen situations like this where, like, from the outside in, it looks like you're treating guys different. And it's because you are.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's because that's what it requires for that personality, right? Yeah. Brandon Ayuk don't give a shit, right? I don't know. Did you see? I love Brandon Ayuk. Did you see what he said on his Instagram story? He said, no. I don't know. If you're wearing a white jersey, it's F you. Talking about the defense. Yeah, he posted that on Instagram. Then Diamador Lenore came back, said, we're not worried about y'all or something like that. So I love Brandon Ayuk, man. He's probably one of my favorite players on offense, if not my favorite player on offense. But yeah, they're different personalities, right? You can treat Brandon Ayuk a certain way and get results. Then you kind of have to like baby Deebo a little bit with his personality.
I think so. They give Brandon all kind of tough love that Deebo does not get. With Brandon, it's like, man, he's come a long way. Like, in what way specifically? Oh, we don't want to talk about it, but boy, he's done so much maturing. Whereas Deebo, he's just perfect. And yeah, he's about 10 pounds overweight sometimes, but when he's not, wow, like, okay. If I were Brandon, I'd be pissed, man. Like, what? What? I'm always in the greatest shape, and you never call my number.
It's different personalities require different, like the way you deal with them, the way you motivate them. I think, Deebo's that kind of guy. You need to like be complimentary of him and encourage him and not be too confrontational, where Brandon Ayuk is the kind of player who I like coaching, where you just tell him straight up, call him out, and he'll respond, So I think that's what it mostly is.
Adam says, any chance they trade mid? Nope. Obi-Wan Raziki says, what week will Darnold start? You know he will.
I hope that's not the case. I don't know. I mean, hey, Sam Darnold might play better than ever for the 49ers. I'm going to root for him if he's out there. He should play better than ever for the 49ers in this offense with these weapons. I just hope he doesn't play. I hope it's either Brock or Trey all year.
I don't think he's going to start this year. He might come in relief. Would you trade Bosa or Hunter for Hunter and Cousins?
Hunter and Cousins.
Danielle Hunter.
No, Cousins. No, I would trade him for
35, man. No,
I would trade him for Herbert. Did you see that money that Herbert just got paid today?
No,
like $256 million contract for Justin Herbert today.
Nice.
So that concerns me a little bit. I trade him for one of the top 5 guys, but I don't know about Cousins.
Sirs 11 says we better win the Super Bowl. I bet 2,500 on us. Kissing goodbye, and it's gone. And it's gone.
That's a lot of loot, man. That's a lot of loot. I hope we win.
Official BNA Music 88 says they can't run the media guilt trip tactics like leaking numbers or framing Bosa as selfish like usual. They knew since year one he was going to caught. That's a good point. They can't run the media guilt trip tactics like leaking numbers or framing Bosa as selfish like usual. Yeah, why can't they do that? Official BNA Music. What is it about Bosa that makes the media not be able to target him like that? Why?
Yeah.
Why? That's true. Brian says, I know it's a year from now, but with all these huge contracts, who's getting traded next year? Deebo, if he doesn't fulfill all the promise that he's hope and expectations.
I think Deebo is a lot. There's a big possibility he gets traded if Brandon Ayuk balls out and Deebo doesn't repeat his performance from 2 years ago. You could see Deebo being traded.
Could be Kittle, could be Armstead. Those guys are getting older.
Yeah.
Mark says Brock Purdy stats, quarterback ratings, play action pass 130, first in the NFL, in rhythm passing 130 in the NFL, first in the NFL, passer rating with pre-snap shifts 118, first in the NFL, passing outside the numbers 112, first in the NFL. Those are very impressive stats.
I can give you 5 that he's in the bottom, Mark. So I mean, I understand that he has some good statistics there, but he also has some bad ones. So, you can post the good ones if you just want to focus on that. That's fine. But there is more context than just these particular stats that you pulled out.
Hold on. Let me get his split stats real quick because there's one more. He mentioned the play action passing, which is important. Like, he is a very good play action passer. He can roll him left. You can roll him right. You can do a lot with him. But what's about non-play action? Non-play action last year, he was worse. I mean, his quarterback rating, what would they say? Well, he has different numbers because I'm looking at Pro Football Reference. He has him at 115 quarterback rating play action. I'd like to know what was his quarterback. If it was 130 with play action, without play action, it must have been like 90 something. I'm getting the feeling that as a straight shotgun drop back passer, maybe Jimmy's better than Brock. Brock.
That's what I've been saying.
That's what I would say.
If there's a like a quick route first read, if your quick first read is open, Jimmy's better. He's more accurate. He's going to get it out quicker. If it's not open, then I lean towards Brock.